presentation. Now, the next gentleman who's going to present to us was here 2 years ago. And just like Sebastian's presentation, I went, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's amazing. And I said to him this morning, where were you last year? And he said, I've got some even more exciting things to share with you this year. Our next presenter is Mr. Bill Carter, I got it right, Bill Carter, from Autodata Middle East. He's the head of research. He knows everything there is to know about motor vehicle prices and trends in sales. Am I right? Yeah, sort of, absolutely. Please give him a warm round of applause. Thank you very much. Bill Carter.
Well, good morning everybody, and thank you for that introduction. Let's see if I can live up to that. It's been quite interesting listening to the previous speakers, because some of those issues have an impact on the used car market across this whole region, and I will cover some of that as I go through the presentation. For those of you that don't know anything about Autodata, just a quick history. We started data collection in 2006. By 2010 we had enough data to actually launch into the region. We currently have a database of over 17,000 models on our systems, and they hold about 90,000 valuations. And we offer a wide range of products covering not only the automotive sector, but obviously insurance, finance, and some government entities are also using our data. The company was recently acquired by a large consulting group with over 30 years experience across the Middle East and Canada. And we did a soft relaunch at the Dubai Motor Show. And it's very well received. So currently we're the longest established authority on automotive information in the region, and we're expanding, and I'll cover that a bit later. Our vision is to be the benchmark in unbiased, credible and accurate automotive data across the whole of the Middle East. Okay, first statement. The biggest growth potential in this region is not in new cars, it's in used cars. There are more used cars sold across this region than there are new. And if people doubt that, just think about any mature market, whether it be Europe, the UK, the Americas, Australasia. There are always more new cars traded, used cars traded every year than there are used cars. Now, it's very, very difficult at the moment to put a firm figure on what is going on in this region. Our current estimate is it's about 2 to 3 used cars for every 1 new car that's traded during the course of the year. If you take a look at the UK and Europe, that can be as high as 5 or even higher. So it is growing. And some of our systems will help you grab a slice of this action. So let's have a look and see what's actually going on across the region. In the last 5 years, the number of certified pre-owned programs, that's used car programs that are actually driven by the manufacturers or the factories, has grown from 3 to 25, and it's still growing. It's growing every year. Now what happens is these cars in these pre-approved programs actually retain more of their residual value, so they achieve a better price. And it's not unusual for a 10 to 15% increase in the used car value for vehicles that are traded in these certified approved schemes. The growth has also generated a lot of extra revenue for the after-sales market, because if you think about it, used cars need refurbishment, they need parts, and so not only does the used car operation generate more profit, the after-sales departments of these garages also generate more profit. Very, very important to remember this going forward. And we know that this year alone, there are at least 2 more manufacturers who are about to launch certified approved pre-owned cars. So it's a very big growth market. And we also know that a lot of the independent dealers are actually becoming more and more professional. They're offering extended warranties. This gives more and more opportunity for onward sales. Average refurbishment costs about 3,000 to 4,000 dirhams locally, and that's in line with what's going on across Europe, North America, areas like that. There is lots of parallels starting to appear now that this market is starting to mature. For years it's been a fairly immature market, slow to grow. That's changed, and it's changing rapidly now, as we're seeing the market grow. Now this gives another opportunity. What's happened in the past, people have always been afraid to buy any car that needed some work doing on it. In actual fact, it's a really good opportunity. It's a good area for extra margin, extra profit, not only across the used car business, but again across refurbishment. On average, if you buy a car that needs some work doing to it, it will cost you 15% less than you would normally pay for a car in good condition to be brought in as a part exchange. Now that 15% is nowhere near what you're going to spend on refurbishment. So in actual fact, the margin on a used car that needs a bit of work can be as much as twice as the margin on a car that is in good condition that you buy in. So it's very important to remember this, that a car that needs work doing to it is not always a bad buy, but you have to get the appraisal right. So what happens? More certified pre-owned cars, as I said, equals more refurbishment work, more finances and insurance opportunities. When somebody's buying from a franchise dealer, whether it be new or used, they're fairly much a captive audience. So it gives you opportunities to sell on extended warranties, gap insurance, paint protection, service contracts. It's a huge market that is untapped in this region. People start to switch on what they can and can't do, but it's a slow process and everybody needs to wake up and grab this opportunity. What are the current challenges? Okay, currently within this region everybody is suffering stock shortages of used cars, and there's one huge reason for this, and it's been covered by the previous speakers. It's the number of exports out of this market. If we look at what's going on, discussions I've had with various industry experts are saying that the number of exports could be between 50 and 55% of all used cars are leaving this market. So what does that mean? It means that those brands that are affected by this high level of export are losing visibility. So there's less brand visibility. Not only that, there's also the loss of all the SMR work. If the vehicles are not in this market, they're not going to come into workshops for repair, they're not going to come in for servicing. It's a whole bomb that is waiting to explode. Everybody's concentrating on a short-term gain. We know that buyers are coming in from outside GCC states and they're paying full retail money to buy used cars to export because there's such demand outside of this region. Now it's all very well taking this short-term gain, but it will be counteracted by the long-term pain with a loss of after-sales business where these vehicles are no longer in this market. And that also affects customer retention. So the other effect that this has on the used car market here means that the change cycles, where people may have changed their car every 2 years, because there are stock shortages, they may have to extend that. But again, this gives another big growth potential for the after sales, because if people are keeping their cars longer, that means more services, more repair work. So there is still an opportunity. Staff attitude. Now this one baffles me, and it still happens today. There is always another customer. I've actually seen this firsthand in a local main dealership. Trying to get a quote for a new car, and I was treated with complete and utter contempt. Because I was asking questions about how long is delivery in it. And in the end, the salesman ignored me and went and served somebody else. And this is the type of attitude that has to change, because otherwise you're going to lose business. We don't take part exchanges. Now I cannot believe that in this day and age, main dealers are missing out on a golden opportunity for pre-owned stock, but it still happens. There are one or two large main dealers in this region who still will not take part exchanges. If you go in to buy a new car, they'll say, well, when you've sold your car, come back and see me. It's ludicrous. A golden opportunity missed. My friend down the road will give you a better price. This happens all the time. The reason his friend down the road will give you a better price is because he will get a kickback from him for sending the trade down there. So the dealer himself has lost another profit opportunity. Reliable data. This is a classic. Not sure how to value this car, so I'll try and buy it cheap just to be on the safe side. Again, you're going to lose the customer. The customer will go somewhere else where he is going to get the proper price. The price always drops by 20% every year. And we still hear this. And believe me, the people who think that way are dinosaurs. And they will be extinct soon. We know from our discussions with all the major insurers, this trend is starting to change. Even the insurance companies now have woken up to the fact vehicles don't depreciate 20% per year. They never have done. The only time that ever happens is when you're launching a new brand into a market where it's not known. Yes, you will get high depreciation in the first couple of years until a brand is built. But in this day and age, it doesn't happen. It's very, very rarely. So how can we help you? Let's have a look at a couple of examples. This is a very common model within this area. Now the top line is the actual rate of depreciation. This is the percentage of its new price that it retains after a period of time. The bottom line is 20% depreciation. And you can see, by the time you get to a model that's 3 years old, you're losing 9% of its value. It goes up as high as 14% in some cases. 20% depreciation? I don't think so. How about this as a classic? This is a new Range Rover. We know there is a waiting list. There's a 1 year waiting list for a new Range Rover. And that waiting list is going to be around for about 2 years until production is ramped up and they can meet demand. So in the meantime, used cars are actually selling for a higher price than brand new. Currently running at about 16% over the list price. And this is not going to change for a long while because that waiting list is still there. So those people that say vehicles depreciate 20% per annum, sorry, you're wrong. And I can quote hundreds of examples where this doesn't happen. So how can we help? We're independent and unbiased. We have no affiliation with any manufacturer or dealer. All the information we get is totally independent. Our information is accurate. It's based on real transactional data that is fed into us from the main dealers, from the manufacturers' regional offices. Now, one of the things that we often get told when we're demonstrating our systems is, I know the price of every car, I don't need a system. Sorry, anybody who believes that is wrong. I've been in this industry 46 years. For the last 25 years, I've done nothing but studied residual values and the values of cars. I wouldn't give anybody a value without referring to our database and piece of software. Nobody knows all the values. I certainly don't, and I don't care how long somebody's been in the industry, how many cars they bought, they do not know what is happening out there day by day. Classic example, yesterday I got a new price listing from a manufacturer. First thing I do is compare that to the last price list, which we got in 3 months ago. They've dropped some of the prices of their new cars by up to 10,000 dirhams. So what's the first thing that happens? That affects the used car values. So if you've got a 2014 model, it's only 3 months old, you've already lost a huge chunk of value because the new car price is 10,000 dirhams less. Therefore, the used car is going to be even less still. And it doesn't only affect that year. That rumbles down all the model years for about 3 years. So up to 3 years old car will still be affected by the price cut now. And these are the things where we can help because this is what we do and this is what we monitor. We can also produce custom designed reports so that if you want to know how many cars have you appraised, how much did you pay for them compared to what the market value is, how much were your refurbishment costs, were they what you actually appraised the vehicle at, so very, very important. Our CBS online valuation product can help you mitigate some of these risks from buying cars at the wrong price and also appraising vehicles to make sure that you're actually getting the correct value for your vehicle. Again, we're locally based. We're about to expand into the rest of the GCC, KSA by the end of this year, the rest of the GCC next year. And I will look forward to taking any of your questions during the question and answer panel at the end of the session.
Thank you. As always,